Hari Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Swami Jyotirmayananda Society, our journey to self-realization. Please subscribe for the mystical meanings and to enjoy daily satsang. We are currently exploring the book Yoga Essays for Self-Improvement, authored by Swami Jyotirmayananda Maharaj, narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. And we are on the topic of ethics in the light of yoga. Essential virtues. All religions of the world have given a similar list of the basic virtues. The 10 commandments of the Bible, the eightfold path of Buddhism, the 5 yamas and 5 niyamas of Raja Yoga, and the divine wealth described in the Bhagavad Gita are all basically established on the profound fact that man's innermost spirit is one with the divine self. Though this fact of unity is not vividly expressed in most religions of the world, it can be seen, felt, and experienced by any truly religious person. The Hindu religion, Sanatana Dharma, and specifically the Vedanta philosophy that arose out of it, is emphatic in declaring that the innermost spirit of man is Brahman, meaning Tat Tvam Asi, thou art that, meaning you have the same constituents as God's energy. Of the 10 virtues outlined in Raja Yoga, these three have been highlighted by most sages and saints in India, especially by Mahatma Gandhi. Ahimsa, which is non-violence, Satyam, which is truth, and Brahmacharya, which means sex restraint or mastery over lust. And of these, non-violence is first on the list. Christianity and Buddhism also both emphasize ahimsa as the most important expression of one's religious movement. In the Gita, Lord Krishna gives the list of virtues under the title Devi Sampat, which means divine wealth. There he mentions fearlessness, purity of heart, steadiness in knowledge and yoga, charity, self control, sacrifice, study of scriptures, austerity, straightforwardness, non violence, truthfulness, absence of anger, peacefulness, absence of crookedness, compassion, non covetousness or hoarding, gentleness, absence of fickleness, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, absence of hatred, and absence of pride. So, a great amount of effort has been um, put into Bhagavad Gita to instill upon people the three gunas, the three modes of nature, and the various qualities from that come from them. Contrasted from these, the following qualities are of a negative nature and constitute the Asuri Sampat or demoniac wealth. Those are hypocrisy, arrogance, self conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These are mentioned in Gita chapter number 16, shlokas 1 to 4, of what are Asuri qualities, demoniac habits that we should ignore. So, transformation of the unconscious. Let's focus on this unconscious, which is the storehouse of our karmas. Chitta, or the unconscious mind, is the seed of impressions or samskaras. These in turn express themselves as vasanas or subtle desires that mature in the form of gross and external desires, longings, and cravings. Urged by these, an individual performs actions which, along with their reactions, generate even further experiences that are stored in the chitta as impressions. Thus, the mental cycle continues to revolve, bringing change and transformation in human personality. Until spiritual vision is unfolded, these changes continue to maintain the bondage of the spirit. The individual soul continues to tumble from one embodiment to another, driven by numerous cravings. These sense objects that make us indulge into these pleasures have consequences, which is why the cycle of birth and death never terminates, because the cycle is perpetual, it keeps going. But when there is a movement towards the ascending heights of spiritual vision, one does not merely change, he understands and undergoes a transformation in his personality. He is no longer running after material objects or things, and he controls the desires. He spiritualizes his daily life and transcends these um, problems. Impressions gathered on the basis of meditation, samadhi, deep spiritual inquiry, and profound insight into the nature of the self are called good samskaras, positive samskaras. These are your friends that you need to help you on this path. They are the fountain source of all divine qualities. On the other hand, impressions formed on the basis of egoism, selfishness, anger, hate, jealousy, and similar gross qualities are called ashubh samskaras, or inauspicious or impure impressions. These are the basis of all negative qualities in a human personality. This is the task of an aspirant, to reorient his unconscious. That's what he needs to do. Instead of forming negative impressions based upon egocentric consciousness, divine impressions based upon self centric consciousness are formed. So it's a conscious act that needs to be undertaken. When divine impressions dominate the unconscious, one attains spiritual enlightenment and goes beyond the ordinary concepts of good and evil. In fact, he becomes the very embodiment of all that is truly good and divine. The ethics of yoga in the light that beckons one to the supreme transformation of the personality. When such a transformation is attained, there is the cessation of the cycles of life and death. A sage of enlightenment, therefore, is not born again. He is merged into Brahman, or divine consciousness. While alive, he maintains a double consciousness, partly involved in the world of practical realities and partly immersed in the inward placidity of the self. Because he enjoys that journey so much, so he has an in and out approach on both sides, into the world, out of the world. So even while involved in outer activities, a sage is inwardly detached and unaffected. So, apad dharma, let's talk about confounding situations. There are times when life itself is threatened. That's what's called apat dharma, meaning emergency. It then becomes important for one to save his life, which is the basis of his spiritual evolution. Without his life, he cannot evolve, he cannot pray. So, ordinary codes of ethics are then set aside. However, even in such situations, the spirit in man guides him in a mysterious manner. There's an example in the Mahabharata where at one time sage Vishwamitra was unable to procure food for several days. There was widespread famine caused by a prolonged drought, and in order to sustain his life, he planned to steal dog meat from the hut of a Chandala, or an outcast. But he was caught red handed. An argument then ensued between him and the Chandala. The Chandala, or the low class person, went on condemning his conduct, and Vishwamitra went on supporting it. Finally, the Chandala allowed him to have the meat. Sage Vishwamitra, having cooked the meat, offered it to the gods. Immediately, rain came pouring down, and Vishwamitra did not have to eat the meat after all, but he got tested in a very intense way, and even if he had eaten it, to protect his life, which is his apata dharma. He didn't do it out of desire, he just had to survive. But even gods blessed him, and he was forgiven and absolved of that responsibility. Much in the same manner, during conditions of confusion and danger to life, one relaxes the strict rules of ethics to a certain extent. However, it is guided by divine help and his own inner voice to be victorious. The same applies to a country that is confronted by inimical forces. It must therefore engage in a righteous war to protect its culture and valor. Ahimsa doesn't mean you become a coward. You have to protect your family, your country. All those things need to happen, but be righteous. Don't go hurting others for no reason. But if someone attacks you, it is your moral, it is your dharma to protect yourself. However, such actions become expedient only for a short duration. In the final course, the goal that humanity must strive for is increased understanding, love, peace, and harmony. So, the highest good, the self, is the embodiment of all that is true, beautiful, and good. And the movement that enables a person to realize the self is supremely virtuous. Moreover, if the ethics of yoga were brought into practice, all of humanity as well as the individual would progress. Everybody would benefit. Against the increasing crime, perversion, and tensions of the present day world, there is no remedy more effective and enduring than yogic culture. So, if humanity were taught and inspired to follow the great ideal of self realization, all its problems would be effectively reduced. These are some of the benefits to be expected when the world looks to ethics in the light of yoga and the goal of self realization, the highest good. So, this is Swami Nikhilananda. I will see you in tomorrow's satsang. Tomorrow, we are picking up a very profound essay, a very profound topic that many will benefit from, and you will benefit from, certainly many others. So please continue to share this wisdom with others, as so many people are struggling and they need help. This topic is called how to remove anxiety. So many people suffer from it, and we will discuss this in tomorrow's satsang. Hari Om Tat Sat.